Écoles, Sénégal. Jana to get over son, manga jungle, get the double the élèves to tolerate examining a sala, I'm the fit of
Neighbor is someone that is is next to you, your closest. Someone that lives next to you, someone that sits next to you, that's your neighbor. Someone that is close to you, that's your neighbor. It could be opposite, it could be next to you, it could be across, it's your neighbor. It could be a neighboring country. For example, Senegal, the neighboring country is Gambia. Cameroon, the neighboring country is Nigeria. So it could be a neighboring city, it could be anyone that is just next to, close to, across to. Anyone and anything is a neighbor. And then you have a colleague. A colleague is someone that you work with. Someone that you work with is your colleague. That is someone in the same company, the same business, the same vision. It's a colleague. And then of course you have a classmate. There's a different relationship. A classmate is someone that you're in the same class with. A schoolmate is someone that you're in the same school with. Just because we're in the same school doesn't necessarily mean that we're in the same class. So it could be a schoolmate because we're in the same school, or a classmate because we're in the same class. That's a different kind of category. And then of course you have a visitor. A visitor is someone that comes to visit. It could be someone that you know or someone that you don't know, but at least a person comes to visit. Obviously, you know that before visiting someone, you always have to seek permission. A lot of people don't like surprises. So that's just an outside. But a visitor is someone that comes to visit, and that person becomes a visitor. It becomes a guest. You're a guest. We call it a guest. A guest. And plural, you add an S, and they pronounce guests. So you become a guest in my house, in my office, in my school. It's a guest. Most often they use guests for VIPs, for important visitors that come. And then what about a stranger? A stranger. A stranger. A stranger is someone that we probably do not know, or we probably are not sure who that person is. That is a stranger. Someone that just walks in. For example, if you're in a business and somebody comes in to show your product, you say, oh, we just had a stranger come in, walk in, because you don't really know that person. I mean, like even the name, you're not probably sure who that person is. That's a stranger. Someone that, or someone that you have not met for long, or someone that is not welcomed, and then comes to a place that you're not welcome. They might probably consider you a stranger. So, a stranger. So that's dad and that's mom. Dad and mom are married. We're going to do a little bit of revision on what we looked at the last video. And we're still on family and an extension of marriage. And we know about my maternal family, my maternal cousin. Maternal is the family of my mom, hence the word ma. Maternal. It's my mom's family. Oh, my maternal grandpa was here. My maternal cousin was here. My maternal niece was here. My maternal family. And then of course you have the paternal. That of course you guessed right. It's pa, the father's family. My paternal family. Maternal, paternal. And then we talked about siblings. Siblings are your brothers and sisters. It could be your older siblings. It could be your younger siblings, your big siblings, your small siblings. Siblings are basically your brother and sisters, period. Just your brother and sister. But then relatives or relative, it's much more bigger. It comes, it incorporates your uncle, your aunt, your cousin, your nieces, your nephews, your grandma. All those are called relatives. My relative. So please know that. And of course, we remember step, which is an additional family to your family. A stepmom, a stepdad, a stepbrother, stepsister is an additional family to your family, to your already family. And then the in-law, of course, remember in-law. In-law is the family of the opposite spouse, I said. The family of my husband are my in-laws. The father to my husband is my father-in-law. The sister to my husband is my sister-in-law. So that is a family of the opposite sex or the opposite spouse. They call them in-law. And then we're going to look at the different kinds of marriages, the popular ones, the main ones. Because nowadays we have all kinds of, you know, marriages or union, like they say. So these are the different kinds of marriages that I think we should focus on. They have monogamy. Mono means one. So it's one man, one wife. Monogamy. That's the main marriage or main union commonly practiced, especially like in America, in Canada, in Europe especially. Monogamy is, in Africa too, monogamy is the most commonly practiced marriage or union. And then of course we have polygamy. Poly means more, many, more than one. Poly. So of course you already know what that means. Polygamy means it's a man that has many wives, or more than one wife. That's a polygamy. It's a man that has more than one wife. And so how do these wives call themselves? How do you have to present themselves? For example, if I had a brother, I'll say this is my brother. If I had, you know, a girl, I'll say this is my daughter. This is my son. Of course, we know that daughter, you know, is a girl and son is a boy. And then if this is me, I have a son, and my son has another son, has a child, you know, it becomes my grandchild. Of course, we know that, you know, that the second generation becomes grand. So my kid is the first generation, and then the second generation is the kid of my kid. It becomes grand, just like the mom to my mom is what? Grand. So it becomes my grandson. But what if this grandson has another kid? What does it become if it has another kid? Or another child? Or daughter or son? What does it become? You're right, great-grand. It becomes a great-grand. A great-grand. So, first generation is your closest one, your kid. The second generation is your grand. The third is the great-grand. Just like, it's the same thing. The first generation is my mom, the second is my grand, and the next is my great-grandmom, my great-granddad. It's exactly the same thing that works, you know, the opposite end. My son, my great-grandson, my son, my grandson, my great-grandson. That's how it works. So you know first generation, second generation, and then of course third generation. Please mark that. It's important that you know how to describe the son of my son of my son. What is it if they ask you? You should be able to distinguish if it's a grand or a great-grand. So let's go back to polygamy. Polygamy is very much practiced in Africa. We have a high percentage of polygamy that it's allowed in Africa to have as many wives as you want, if you can handle it. Certain parts of America, they do accept, it's a very low percentage, even though it's not legally accepted to have more than one wife, but that is polygamy. And so my question is, how do you call the wives among themselves? How do you present them? You're not going to say this is my, Americans say my sister wife. They call it the sister wife, which is, you know, it's a cool way of saying it, you know, sister wife. But the legal word is co-wife. co-wife, or if it's in plural, co-wives. I told us that when it's plural, you have a word in FE, remove the FE and put the ES. So it becomes, oh, this is my co-wife. If it's a man who's owned more than 2 wives, you say, oh, meet my co-wives. Co-wives. You will hear some people say sister wife. Well, like I said, it depends on how you want to pamper it. Americans would definitely say co-wife, sister wife, I'm sorry, but they're co-wives. And then of course, the most dreaded of all, it's polyandry. Polyandry. I told you, poly means more than one. Poly, it's more than one. Polyandry is the opposite of polygamy. So if polygamy is one man with a couple of wives, what do you think polyandry will be? Guess. Well, it's a woman with more than one husband. It's a woman with more than one husband. That is polyandry. Yeah, I know. You probably think it doesn't exist, huh? It sure does exist. Even though the percentage is very, very minimal, but there do exist women that date or marry 2 men or more men. That kind of relationship is called polyandry. You should know that. So you have monogamy, polygamy, polyandry. Very important that you know that. And then now, what we have now coming up is the same-sex marriage. It's getting out there a lot. We have the same-sex marriages as well. So those are the different forms of marriages. Thank you.
Senegal. Jana to garu sana manga jangale gita do bouger do faywa ngi élève te tolo ci examen li nga soxla am na fi tamu gën a sur école